Welcome back to Buzzer to Buzzer. Yesterday was the 2020 NFL Draft, and the first round elapsed. Today, we're going to start off by discussing and doing a post-draft analysis on who we thought were the best steals and the most surprising picks by NFL teams. First, we're going to start off with the steals. Orion, who is your number one steal of the 2020 NFL Draft, the first round?
All right, so my steal for the 2020 NFL Draft has to be CeeDee Lamb, as he fell all the way to 17 to Dallas Cowboys. He was my number one receiver, and I can't believe that he was the third one taken. The Dallas Cowboys now have given Dak Prescott a third weapon to succeed, and I think this is going to light up their offense. And I'm shook right now because I couldn't believe that they fell all the way to 17. It's crazy.
Yeah, Arian, that's facts. I did not expect him to go that late into the draft, especially when Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, they also got drafted before him. I definitely thought that CeeDee Lamb was the best wide receiver in this draft, and I was actually super shocked when he came that late. So, yeah, I think he's a steal of the draft.
Definitely. Okay. Harsh, what about you?
I think with the wide receivers, you could have gone any which way you wanted to. But I think the bigger steal here is Isaiah Simmons at number 8. I mean, I'm pretty sure many of us expected him to go early, maybe at 3 or 4 with the Lions or the Giants. But seeing him drop all the way to number 8, the Cardinals are getting a full defensive player that they should be very excited about.
Man, okay, Abi and Arian, CeeDee Lamb was definitely one of my top steals. But in my opinion, I think that Kristen Wirfs to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is honestly one of the biggest steals of the NFL draft. And, well, at least in the first round. Thinking about how good the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be now with Tom Brady, a future Hall of Famer, adding Rob Gronkowski in the past week. Can we take a moment to, just visualize how good their offense will be now? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, the Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski dynamic duo is one which is forever lasting. They're going to be such a good duo, and adding the key offensive piece like Kristen Wirfs, I think just makes them a much more scarier offensive unit. And I think that this might even allow them to be fully Super Bowl contenders. And I think they're going to go a long way with a great pick.
Oh, so I just had a comment on your steal, Rayon. So, see, with O-line, I really don't think that any pick from an O-line can be a steal because I feel like O-linemen, it's like every team needs an O-lineman. So I feel like defensive players are more of steals whichever team picks that player because linemen, it's like every team needs it. So it's not a steal even if they fall back to the later rounds and later picks.
Branching off of that, I don't think that you can't say an O-lineman's not a steal, but I feel like it's such a volatile position that's probably the hardest position to analyze in terms of prospect and translation to the NFL. So I think, sure, you can call an O-lineman a steal, somebody projected to go in the first round to go in the second. Sure, you can call that a steal. But I don't know if the swapping between O-linemen in different positions for different teams is really called a steal. It's the hardest position to evaluate.
Okay, makes sense. I see your guys' viewpoint. The only thing which I was coming at from here was I saw a lot of potential in Kristen Wirfs, and I felt like his blocking game was pretty good. And especially considering that Tom Brady's not that mobile in the pocket, having somebody who we've seen in college has put on a show, I think that he has enough potential anyway, to make a positive impact at Tampa Bay and even make him a contender now.
Yeah, for sure.
There definitely were some other steals as well, but let's talk about the surprises. There were a bunch of surprises which occurred yesterday in the first round, some of which even caught us a bit off guard. Harsh, you want to start off by talking about what was your number one surprise?
Yeah, my number one surprise wasn't necessarily a pick, but it was just watching CeeDee Lamb drop all the way to number 17. I mean, you expect the Raiders to do so. You expect all these teams in front of them to pick up CeeDee Lamb, and he drops to 17. I mean, come on. How are you going to let a prospect like that drop all the way to 17 into the hands of Jerry Jones and Dak Prescott?
Yep.
One surprise, this guy actually saw a lot of mock drafts mocking him to the third round, second round, and he got drafted at 19. Damon Arnett, cornerback to the Raiders. Raiders in classic fashion, overvaluing a cornerback. Last year they took Cleveland Farrell, 4th overall, and he turned out to be massively underachieved. And I don't know if David Arnett was a good pick here, But yeah, this was a big surprise because there were many other better cornerbacks on the board, and they chose Damon Arnett.
Well, in my opinion, I'm gonna go back to the O line, man. I feel like the number 4 pick, the New York Giants, man. Like they picked Andrew Thomas, who's a great offensive lineman. However, I think that he wasn't the best offensive lineman in the draft. In my opinion, I think that the New York Giants could have been better off by selecting a person like Kristen Wirfs or selecting Jedrick Willis Jr. I was caught a bit off guard by what was the Giants like? What was the Giants general manager and what was their management staff thinking when they took when they took Andrew Thomas, who's been ranked 4th and 5th best offensive line in this draft? I was a bit confused as to the direction they're going in, but let's see how this plays out. Andrew Thomas still a great player, great offensive line. He's shown what he can do in the past 2 seasons, and let's see what happens.
All right, this is gonna be a little bit controversial, but I think that surprise for me was that Tua got drafted, 5th pick. I don't know why, but I just thought that I saw a lot of articles and a lot of reporters saying that he would be actually lower in the draft, and I kind of thought that I had to agree with those reporters because I feel like I'm not sure his transition will be well into the NFL, and especially after those injuries, I think that's not something teams should take lightly, and I was surprised that he went that high in the draft.
I don't know. I think the Tua pick was kind of a safe gamble to make for the Dolphins, right? Sure, if he turns out to be a prospect, it's a win for the Dolphins at number 5. But say he doesn't work out, 1, they have 2 other picks in the first round, and 2, next year, if it doesn't work out, they're obviously going to do bad. And who's available in the draft next year? Trevor Lawrence.
True. Well, I actually would agree with you in a sense that I was a bit surprised that Tua fell to number 5, in the sense that the Lions like kept the third overall pick, and the Dolphins kept the 5th pick. There was no trades. In a sense, which relates to the bigger picture, is that I was surprised of the lack of trades, which didn't occur until a bit later in the first round, especially within the first 10 picks. I was waiting like, oh, Roger Goodell's about to come out and say that the Dolphins have made a trade or the Panthers have made a trade. But to all of our avail, there was no trades, which is a bit surprising. And correct me if I'm wrong, this hasn't happened in a couple, like no trade in the first round is a pretty unprecedented thing. So that was another surprising thing as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I feel like this year's draft, many teams had distinct needs that other teams didn't have. I feel like there wasn't that much competition over certain players. Like each team had their own needs and they didn't like necessarily conflict with the other teams. So that may be the answer to the lack of trades this year.
Yeah, for sure. I think that before the draft, I feel like a lot of teams already settled or chose what player they want, and I feel like a lot of teams were happy. Like they didn't have to settle for players that they didn't want. I feel like every team got the pick that they wanted in this draft.
Yeah, it was definitely a draft in which, although the Chicago Bears were left out in the first round, many of the other teams in the league benefited, and many teams have come stronger. And, well, well, although many teams have come out stronger, many players have been selected to those teams. And there's a huge difference between a great player going to a team and a great player having success and having a successful, maybe even a Hall of Famer career in the NFL, which transitions us to our second segment for today, in which let's talk about our top 3 players who we think will be the most successful in terms of most accomplished and most talented, even if you want to throw that in the NFL throughout their NFL career. Arian, you want to start off with your third best?
All right, my third best I think has to be Jeff Okudah. Go to the Lions. I think this guy has no chance to bust as long as he doesn't get injured. I think Matt Patricia's defense fits him well. He's going to be the number 1 corner next year, and he was the number 1 corner in the draft. I think as long as he doesn't get injured, he's probably one of the best cornerbacks to come out in a while. And that's basically it. I mean, I don't think he has a chance to bust as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jeff Okudah is a great player, and a player of that caliber, I definitely don't think that he will underperform, especially with the Lions. And I think he will really fit well into the Lions.
I think the third best player or to have the best career is going to be Derek Brown. I think Matt Rule is a great coach. I mean, he's really known for turning around programs defensively and offensively, and I think he has the right tools to help Derek Brown turn into the next superstar defensive player.
Honestly, in my opinion, I think that this may come as a shocker, but the third player who's going to have the best successful career in the NFL is going to be Chase Young. I feel like he adds so much value to the Redskins defense, which was ranked 27th in the NFL last year in points and yards allowed. I feel like he's about to have a great career, not just for the team, but he's essentially, y'all are going to laugh, but he reminds me of LeBron James, essentially. In the
Only
LeBron James,
35 though.
he's not 35, a bit younger than that, but he reminds me in the sense that he brings depth and value to a team. He's a player who allows other players to rise, similarly how LeBron James allows other players like Alex Caruso and others to rise. I think Jeff Okudah is going to allow his team, the Redskins defense, to greatly rise, and in doing so, he's going to make a name for himself, and maybe I can see this kid as a Hall of Famer one day. Well, let's move on to our second player, to the second best of who we think will have the most successful career. Abi, you want to start?
Yeah. So my second best player who will have success in the NFL is Isaiah Simmons. I think Isaiah Simmons will fit into the Cardinals' defensive scheme really well, and I feel like he's a really unique player with like the speed and his size, and I really think that the Cardinals will like surprise a lot of people this year.
Okay, so I guess my second player would have to be Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, I think he was my second receiver out of this class. The only reason I would say Jerry Jeudy is number 2 here instead of CeeDee Lamb is because of this system. I think in Pat Shurmur's system, a receiver like him is a lot to thrive, along with the fact that the Broncos already have Cortland Sutton and Drew Lock. I think he'd be a perfect number 2 receiver, maybe even possibly a number 1 receiver with the Broncos. And just like Jeff Okudah, as long as he doesn't uh, get injured, as long as he stays healthy, he is going to succeed in the NFL.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, for my second best predicted career, I'm going to be with Ari, and I'm going to pick a wide receiver too, but I'm going to pick a different one. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb. I think dropping to 17, putting him with the Dallas Cowboys with a pretty good quarterback with Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, all the coaching staff that came, the new coaching staff. I think that Jerry Jones is picking a wide receiver for the future for them, and it's really going to help them become that next level offensive juggernaut.
Well, Harsh, I think I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. CeeDee Lamb, great wide receiver. I think that him being added to a valuable Dallas organization right now, although whatever the contract situation might be with Dak Prescott and the feud between him and Jerry Jones, I feel like Dak Prescott, hopefully he gets signed. Having Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and now adding a versatile piece like CeeDee Lamb, I feel like that the Dallas Cowboys are setting up a great franchise, and CeeDee Lamb is about to catch some dimes from Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy is getting the weapons to create one of the most lethal offenses in the NFL, and if he can do it correctly, the Dallas Cowboys are here to stay.
Definitely. All right. Well, let's move on to the big question. Who do we think will be the most successful player in their future careers from this draft? Abi, you want to start off?
Yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be the most successful, actually.
Okay.
You guys are saying Cowboys offense, they already have a lot of talent on that team. And CeeDee Lamb's a really talented receiver. So I feel like the Cowboys will utilize him to the max that they can. And I feel like that he'll really succeed with the new coach, a good quarterback, Dak Prescott, and with Amari Cooper. I think that they're going to be a wide receiver 1 and 2 combo that's going to be hard to beat.
I think the number 1 player is super obvious. It should be Chase Young, no doubt. Chase Young, if you had to pick one Hall of Fame player from this draft, it would be Chase Young. Many scouts actually think that he's better than Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa, both the brothers who went to Ohio State before him. Chase Young is a generational pass rusher. Ryan, you compared him to LeBron James. I'm going to stick in the sport, and I'm going to compare him to Khalil Mack.
Okay.
He's a tank. I mean, you can't block him one-on-one. And as long as the Redskins get an offense, I think he's going to be winning in no time.
All right. Well, in my opinion, I think that the number 1 pick, the number 1 person who's going to have the best career as the number 1 pick, I think is Joe Burrow. And I think that Joe Burrow we've seen the man ball out in LSU, led the Tigers, go Tigers, to the national championship, Heisman Trophy winner, set multiple college football records, and he's shown he's such a good quarterback. And I feel like him going to the Cincinnati Bengals And although there's a lot of chatter, oh, the Bengals aren't ready to win. They don't have a mentality to win right now. They're thinking long term. I feel like the Bengals are actually making some type of switches to get in that mentality, to become contenders. I mean, with signing Joe Burrow, they previously also saved like a lot of money in cap space in order to hire other receivers as well, which I think can allow the Bengals to get some good weapons for Joe Burrow. But also, I see a mindset shift in the Bengals mentality essentially, and that is because of the new offensive coordinator they hired, a young man named Zach Taylor. I feel like that them making these coaching changes is showing that they are ready to win. They want to set up an environment in which Burrow can succeed. And I feel like this may come as a shocker, but I feel like that Joe Burrow is really similar to Tom Brady in some senses, in the sense of where he's coming into the league. Now, I know Tom Brady, 200 pick, Joe Burrow, number 1 pick, right? But I feel like the situation in which they're coming into a team which is just all right, I feel like that Joe Burrow can turn that franchise around and lead them to not one, not as LeBron James said, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, many chips.
Not 1, championships.
Not 2.
LeBron, tell us about that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
You know, I don't know if you can say that Joe Burrow will have a successful career. I'm not saying he won't. I feel like the pieces around him aren't there right now. But also, you have to look at what situation he's getting. He's getting put into a very young coach's hands. You know, that offense really isn't that great. And I don't think you can compare him to Tom Brady's situation because the Bengals, they're not all right. They're the worst team in the league right now. So I don't think you can put him in a position to say he's coming into the same situation as Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to come in here real quick. I think I have to back up Brian on this one. Even though I don't think he'll be the most successful, I think he will be successful. And I have to allude to the point Brian made, where he demonstrated a culture shift. This was the first year where the Bengals put out, millions and millions of dollars in a free agency. They signed a lot of players on the defense side of the ball. They re-signed AJ Green. They have Tyler Boyd. They're getting their left tackle back. They have Joe Mixon. I think Joe Burrow can't. I think Joe Burrow will be set up for success in the future as long as this culture mindset kind of shift stays throughout the course.
see, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with harsh on this one. I really don't think that. No doubt Joe Burrow's a phenomenal player, but I just feel like that the Bengals, like year by year, I don't think that they improve a lot, and I feel like it's like with the Browns. That one year when people were saying that the Browns were gonna have a fantastic season, and they didn't even make the playoffs. Like I definitely think that the Bengals will might be a playoff contender. I don't think so, and I really don't think that Joe Burrow, even though he's a great player, will do a lot for the team.
Well,
I don't really think a culture change is a good indicator of whether or not a team's going to be successful. Sure, it's important, to change a culture and have a winning attitude, but I don't think that's enough to factor into saying that this team is going to be successful. Not to say Joe Burrow won't be, but I'm saying that team is not set up to be successful right now. Also, I guess my player that I think will have the best career in the NFL is Isaiah Simmons. He is a all-two player. He can play any position on that defensive side of the ball. He can be put into any defensive scheme. He's the all-two player, and he will be successful anywhere as long as he does not get hurt.
well, all right. Well, let's take a quick sidetrack from here. We've discussed who were the best players and who we think will be the most successful, but this draft has put a lot of teams who previously weren't contenders and put them in the spotlight of that they can be contenders. So let's take a minute and quickly discuss who we each think who's the best team, which team has most improved throughout this NFL draft, at least in the first round. Who wants to start?
Okay, I'll go first. That's easy. I'm gonna have to go with the Arizona Cardinals. As Harsh said, there's a reason why he picked that Isaiah Simmons is gonna be the best player for his team in the draft, and I really think that Isaiah Simmons is a phenomenal player, and with other offensive weapons like D-Hop, and I'm not supposed to not mention that, but I think that Isaiah Simmons will really have a great impact on his team, and I think the Cardinals, I don't know, I think they're gonna be a really hard team to beat this year.
I think the pick here, I think the team that's been most set up for success is the Baltimore Ravens. They got a stud linebacker in Patrick Queen. I think the second best linebacker in the draft, all the way at pick 28 or 29, I believe. Many people expected him to go earlier in the draft, And last year, the main issue, as we saw in the Titans game, was stopping the run. Patrick Queen is a linebacker who can rush the passer, he can play coverage, and he can tackles for loss. And that is something that the Baltimore Ravens clearly needed based off of last year's performance. And I think they got that this year in Patrick Queen. So I think they'll be set up for the most success this year based off this draft.
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one, Ari and Abi, because in my opinion, I think that the team which is most improved and like who's most suited now is the Miami Dolphins. And it's solely because of how many key assets they've picked up who are young and ready to make a move in the NFL. I feel like that the Dolphins, obviously they had like, I think 4 picks in the first round, 5 picks in the second round. They have selected a lot of key assets, including Tua, I believe is going to be a great franchise quarterback. There's a lot of doubt of how he's going to recover from the injury, but I feel like he's going to make a name for himself in the NFL. And also the Dolphins have improved on their defensive side by getting a good cornerback late in the first round. And I feel like they're the best team who's most improved after this draft.
Yeah. I'm going to have to disagree with all of you. I'm going to say the San Francisco 49ers are really becoming a lethal team after this draft. I mean, they got a wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk, and now they also drafted lineman Javon Kinlaw. I mean, they added a defensive player to fill the hole that was left when they traded away DeForest Buckner, which is also a cheaper option. And they add another wide receiver, increasing depth on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, this team is upgrading and filling in holes where they need to. I think they're doing a fantastic job, and I feel like this is a team that's gotten significantly better.
Well, I believe that I would have said the 49ers, but I just feel like that since they lost out on Emmanuel Sanders, like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know how they're going to do, man.
Is Emmanuel Sanders like your LeBron of football or something? Like,
Yeah.
Very, very funny, guys. Anyways, do y'all got any more comments about the first round?
I'm so
Yeah.
happy. I want to say one comment real quick. As a Bears fan, I'm so happy that Packers are such a stupid organization for taking a quarterback first round. They did not help Aaron Rodgers. I'm so happy. I can't wait to see Aaron Rodgers in an interview sometime. Absolutely light up Jordan Love. I feel bad for Jordan Love going to that position, but as a Bears fan, I cannot be more happy.
100%.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, Ari. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, with a 26th overall pick, the Packers taking Jordan Love. I mean, what are they doing? They needed a wide receiver on the offensive side. They needed more depth. Anything would have been better than drafting Jordan Love. And he would have been available later, too.
Yep.
Exactly.
I think that Aaron Rodgers is highly susceptible to injuries these days. And I feel like, having Deshaun Kaiser as a backup QB did not really do well, as we saw against the Bears 2 years ago. And I feel like they haven't had a great backup QB ever since then. So I feel like it's not the worst pick. I think you guys are blowing this out of proportion a little bit over here, because
I think a part of it is them overdrafting Jordan Love too. Because I think if they really wanted him that bad, he would have been available early to mid second round. They could have traded up to get him. I don't think they needed to waste a pick, especially the 26th pick.
Yeah. Also, one more thing. Name one other receiver on the Packers besides Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers, if Devontae Adams is locked up, he has no one else to throw to. They desperately needed receiver help, and they had so many great options available, and they completely missed out on all of them by taking a developmental project who won't be ready for the NFL for 2 years when Aaron Rodgers needs to win now.
Yep. Well, it sure does bring a little warmth to our Chicago boys' hearts in the terms that the Packers are suffering and selecting who's probably not a key asset and something which is not necessary to win. Anyways, we hope that you guys enjoyed our takes and our draft analysis on the first round. Anyways, we got a lot more fresh content coming up, a lot of more great episodes coming up, a lot of more potentially special episodes coming out as well. We hope that you guys enjoyed our draft analysis. We hope that you enjoyed the NFL's new virtual draft format. It was one of a kind. Not that many technical errors, surprised, but it was great, smooth. We loved it. We hope that you enjoyed our video. We hope to catch you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, comment your takes, comment your steals, surprises in the comment section below, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya. Peace.